Okay, guys, I'm going to be doing some of these trade recaps in video format, at least for a while. I'm going to try to give it a go. I want to get a little more descriptive and go over some of the decisions and go over things kind of play by play. And I think I could do that quicker in video format as opposed to the way that I've been doing the trade updates on the Discord channel and including a screenshot. I would need to mark up that screenshot with little graphics, and I think I could do this a lot faster. So let's go ahead and give it a go, and let's look at Friday, May 1st. As a lot of you know, I'm using the 200 period SMA on a 5-minute chart as my trend filter. So this moving average is going to help me pick my direction if directional trading is optimal, or it's also going to help me decide if we're even trading directionally. And this is a good example. I do this by looking at the previous day's session. So the slope of the moving average on the previous day's session. So if we take a look here at Thursday, April 30th, we have our 200 period moving average on the 5-minute chart. And it's kind of directionally confused. It slopes up slightly on the second half of the day, but the value from open to close is really only about 10 points, which is below the threshold that I've defined as being a healthy trend, which I've designated as 0.20% of the current price of SPX, which on Friday, May 1st is in the 7200s. 14 points would be 0.20%. So at 10 points, we're below that threshold. So with those conditions, I'm looking at a neutral structure for the trade. Additionally, we are in what I would define as a low volatility environment, which is when we're above the 20 SMA on the daily chart. The 20 SMA on the daily chart does a really good job of filtering out low realized volatility from high realized volatility. So given those conditions, the strategy calls for a short iron condor, which I'll execute approximately the midpoint of the day, which for me is going to be 11:45 Central Standard Time. So I've been exploring some additional filters regarding the short iron condor specifically. These filters are related to the first hour range, and they're going to help us determine if we should in fact go ahead and execute the trade at 11:45 Central Standard Time. And there are just a few things that stand out when I look over 150 or so occurrences over 2024 and 2025. Again, these are just days that are whitelisted and predetermined to be the short iron condor trading days. But in regard to the first hour range, a large proportion of the winners were at the time of the trade outside the first hour range. A large proportion of the losers were inside the first hour range, with the exception being those that were inside the first hour range and had not left the range up to that point were also likely to win. And a fourth data point I looked at was the range from the open of that day up to the time of the trade at approximately 11:45 Central Standard Time. And if that value was greater than 0.70% of the current price, or actually specifically the opening price of that day, we would stay out of the trade then as well. Okay, and I'm going to talk about this more in a separate video, because this is they weren't just not optimal for the short iron condor, they were very much losing trades, which made them very optimal for the long iron condor. But I'm going to talk about that in a future video. Let's just get back to Friday's trade. So We actually defined the first hour range, and which I have here marked in blue, and we did actually stay in that range all the way up to the trade, which was around here. So looks like I got the alert out on Friday at 11:50. We sold it for 245, and again that would have occurred right around here. We moved up at that point, and we actually did touch the short call strike at 72.55. We did reject there, moved back toward the middle of the range, and then yeah, we used up the space. We stayed in the range, but we did approach our short put spread, but rejected there as well. Moved back to the center of the range, and right around there, we're feeling pretty good about this. And we were in fact able to buy this trade back at $20 somewhere in the final half hour. I think it was in the last 15 minutes, and I actually didn't see this move down here until a little bit after the close for that day. So yeah, this was a success. We sold the short iron Condor, bought it back at 20 for a what I would call a full win. And yes, that is my take profit target. I think for all of my trades, really, if they're a credit trade, I'll buy them back at $20 per lot, and if it's a debit trade, we'll look to sell it at $4.80 a lot. And I think I'll talk more about the concept behind that take profit target in a separate video. But for now, let's just wrap that up. That was Friday's trade, Friday, May 1st, the short iron Condor, and that was a full win. So stay tuned for more of these videos, you guys. I like I said, I'm going to try to get them out every day. It might not be every day, you know, sometimes it might get repetitive. It might just be trades, which is actually something to talk about or learn from. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel if you can. You know, that'll help me. I'm trying to help you, so help me help you. And I'll see you guys in the next video.